5 second start. Mr. Deputy Chairman, sir, before beginning my speech on the budget, I would like to associate myself with the other gentlemen without holding any speculation in condemning this incident which was referred to earlier. Everybody here, I am sure, will join with me that political violence is not the thing to be thought of, and it is a very condemnable one, and I associate myself with the views expressed by my other friends on both sides of the house. So far as the budget is concerned, as the economic survey has indicated, the year 1994-95 was a year of unprecedented economic strains in the history of independent India. Again, sir, if you look at the economic survey, we find that the growth either in industrial or agriculture or export sector has not been a very encouraging one. Sir, the Honorable Finance Minister, while trying to frame the budget, had to consider the economic crisis faced by the country and had to grapple with many conflicts in framing the budget. I should like to say here, to a considerable extent, he has made a commendable efforts in order to see that some incentives will be provided both for industrial as well as agricultural growth, which has been rather stagnant for years in this country. Sir, the problems of inflation, economic stagnations, and mounting unemployment, and almost a halt in the industrial and agricultural growth have been facing the country for the last several years, and these have to be broken. But I wonder whether the proper way to tackle these serious problems is to follow the same old path of increasing indirect taxation and budgetary deficit. If you look at the figures, we find the deficit of rupees 126 crores, which was estimated by the previous finance minister for the year 1994-95, has now revealed itself not to remain at rupees 200 crores but has actually risen to rupees 600 crores, even though I admit that a substantial part of it is because of food, fertilizers, and oil imports, which in any case had to be done and which may not add to the inflationary tendencies. One wonders whether the current overall deficit can be kept at rupees 400 crores as estimated and reduced to rupees 200 crores with the proposed massive taxation of rupees 300 crores. Sir, the inflationary nature of this massive dose of taxation has to be very seriously viewed, especially in view of the second dose of impost with which the finance minister had to come out in the middle of the last year, which amounted to nearly rupees 100 crores. Again, the impost of the previous finance minister for resource rising on top of the previous one, which gathered nearly rupees 800 crores to rupees 1000 crores by way of central taxes, railway taxes, post and telegraphs levies, and also taking into consideration the many deficit budgets of the different states, I am sure will result in back-breaking burden for the people. Sir, the impost on consumer items has added a further burden on the common man. The only justification which I can see for the additional taxation will be found in the hope of raising the plan outlay by about 23% to rupees 6000 crores, and it is a welcome feature, particularly so when the outlay is substantially for agriculture and energy resources, and I commend that effort of the Honorable Finance Minister. Sir, we find that agriculture and the energy resources have been stagnating for a couple of years, and the investment there has not been a considerable one. So far as agriculture is concerned, I would like to associate myself with the views expressed by my honorable friend who has gone into greater details of the position with regard to agriculture in a country which has more than 70% of the people living in rural areas. The effort that has been made all these years is not a commendable one, and if you compare it with the development in the urban areas, it has been rather a very neglected one. Sir, even with regard to the organized sector in wages and other amenities, there is always agitation, and they will be in a position to get relief. And we always find that the demand is for linking the wages to the rising cost of living. But what happens in the case of the agriculturist? As a man living in a rural area, he has no hope. Whatever be the rising cost of living, he has to eke out a living with whatever he can produce out of the paltry piece of land that is available to him. I am not against the ceiling on land holdings or new land reforms which have been brought in.